Just put water in it. Happy New Year. It's
Happy New Year.
2024, and guess what? I have the most optimistic perspective that we are gonna have bucket shares and bucket fills today without me having to pull them out of you. What do we say? Let's start with those. What's good that's happening in the new year? Everyone's excited the first like 6 days of the new year.
So on Friday, I was hosting an open house and I was like, you know what? It's 2 days before New Year's Eve. I'm just gonna show up and, be there. And if someone comes in, great. 2 people came in and I was excited. And then on Saturday, I was hosting another open house. It was the day before New Year's or New Year's Eve, I should say. And then no one came in for the 2 hours and I was turning the lights off. I got everything ready. I heard a door shut outside. I went over to the window and it was this older couple that was walking up the stairs. I was like, yes, let's go.
Closing all the lights, go back
All the
out.
lights turned on and I had all my stuff out. I was like, let's go.
Awesome.
But normally I would have been like, really? You didn't come earlier? Like I'm in a better
It's all
mindset now, so.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. What else? What else is good? You shared a whole bunch of good things to
Yeah.
me like 5 minutes ago.
Yes. Jess and I are ready to work in December. It's amazing travel, December, London, and charity event in Nashville, and a trip to Puerto Vallarta.
Wow.
Almost time to get the bank account up again.
Fill it up again. We just,
We
awesome.
met with our referral partners in each place, which is really nice.
Which is right off. Let's be honest.
The
That's
whole
a-
thing is a
Well,
write-off.
I'll tell you guys, one thing that we have really taken advantage of when we've traveled now anywhere is that's one thing that we do for, call the team leader where we're going, talk to them about, where should I get a car? Is there
Yeah.
a place I should stay? Events, things going on. And yes, obviously the write-off opportunity for what's going on in the real estate market in your town.
And we look at properties.
But to use nice to use the team leaders or your concierge to the area, it's kind of cool.
No one calls me when they visit Minneapolis. All right, what else? What else is good?
Maybe something to think about. Maybe that's something that for this year,
Good
maybe
idea.
Put it on the website.
we should try to intermix when we, as family reunion comes or whatever, to put that out there, like, hey, when you're traveling, I just for better camaraderie and obviously agent, partner, agent,
Yeah. It's a great idea. Great idea. What else is good?
I had like that break and the last week in December, everything turned on. I got offers on my land listing. I got one client wanted to write an offer. I had another client that bought and another listing that we had to go active. So it's just like,
You
Boom.
worked the last week of December?
oh, it was not intentionally, but it was great. That was, it was fun. Like it made me optimistic about what 2024 has and the rates still coming is making me excited and just the mindset around people I think are ready to buy and I think it's a good time to get back to work.
Awesome. 2 more. I know we have 2 more. I know they're oh, Lydia.
My dad, he's a pastor. He's retiring this weekend. And I get to be there for his last Sunday.
Oh.
Nice.
Is he excited?
So excited. My parents are so excited.
That's awesome. One more. What's good?
A deal that finally went pending. It has been a long road, boys and girls. It is pending today.
Yay. Awesome. Selena.
Yesterday was my first day in an office here at the office, so I'm.
Exciting. Exciting. Is there anything new about the office?
No, there's not.
Okay.
It's not announcing.
Oh, okay, just checking. Awesome. All right. Anybody else? Okay, moving on. January, we have, some really great trainings, and this Thursday it is here, correct? With, Melanie, and then on Monday and Tuesday, I know it seems early, but it's not. We have the CE Blitz, so if you have not signed up for that, it's in Edina. Each day, how many CE credits do they get?
Like, I don't know.
It's 8 and 7 or something.
Yeah, I mean, so essentially you have most of your credits done in 2 days. And you can get it out of the way right away. So if you want to do that, here are the QR codes. Feel free to sign up for those. They're all free, correct? So that's not a bad thing when you're getting CE credits for free and not having to pay for that. Yeah, okay, there's hands.
So it looks like it's Ignite. And if we did, I mean, when I went online, looked at what
Oh, some of the
classes
things, yeah.
were.
Yeah.
And if we did Ignite for CE credit last year, we couldn't do it again this year because you can't do it twice in the
No.
same.
In the same calendar year, you can't, but now
No,
you're
you
starting.
can, no, you can't do it twice in your.
Your renewal year.
If you're in your same, licensing
Yeah.
period.
Renewal.
So if you got licensed last year, you could, and you know what I mean, your license renewed last year, you could do it this year. But if you're in your 2-year cycle, you can't do it and get credit. So.
No.
You cannot do the same classes, so what you need to look at is what are the classes that you're taking and make sure that they're not already on your transcript.
Yeah.
If they're already on your transcript, you can't have them in your licensing cycle.
I made that mistake.
We all know how to find our transcript.
Pulse portal.
Oh, thank you, Bethany.
I get real familiar with it in June.
She's on it.
Toward
She's
the
like,
end of June?
Go in, go in.
In 30 seconds.
Yeah, like,
That happened.
I think this last year was the closest.
You
I
also,
had it.
you also cannot do more than 8 hours in one day, by the way. That's a real thing.
You used to be able to run 2 computers with 2 different.
You just gotta do
And you know that.
No. The real truth in the CE class while one's running.
Do you have to do both days or can you just do one?
of 2.
You can just do one. You can just do one of the days, yeah.
And you can just.
Sign up for like the class individually.
Yeah,
Like, one of the classes. And some of them are filling up, so I probably wouldn't wait until Monday to be like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, there's already a class that's sold out. So.
You can also get an assistant who's good at learning.
Rick, you are a broker and that is not allowed, okay? And this is recorded, so. I'm-
Recorded.
I think what Rick was saying, to sign him up for the class.
Yes, that was what Rick was saying.
That's what-
Rick can sign you up for the class.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes, that's what I was saying. That's what you guys don't understand. You didn't understand.
Moving on. Here's your CEs that you'll be doing by yourself. I don't care who signs you up, but you'll be doing them one way or another. Then we got our team meeting, database assessment and playbook class. We do have if you're ever doing condos, there's a 2-day condo course that Cindy Freud is, and someone else is a part of it. But I think it's 15 hours of credits. Is that correct? Something like that. But well worth it. Take a look at that as well. We have our collective team meeting on the 24th. Contract for deed and assumable loans is put back on the calendar because that was canceled last month. And then capitalizing with real estate tax strategies, which is gonna be fun because that's gonna be rolling around soon. And then shift workshop and our team meeting of the month. Any questions around that at all? Awesome. Family reunion. So family reunion is in February 25th through the 29th. Who has signed up for family reunion yet? It's in Vegas this year. See, thank you.
I'm going, I just haven't signed up yet.
Okay. If you have never been to an event, I was just talking with them about, it's so much more than just even the information you learn there. It's a huge opportunity just like culturally to be able to mix and mingle with the people in this office and learn from them and network. Because again, this is where a lot of people end up getting referrals from other states, countries, wherever it might be. Do you have questions around family reunion at all? Who's went and thought that they got something out of it? Who wants to share? Share something, why people should go. Because I can say why you should go, right? It's very different coming from me than it is you as agents.
I think the biggest thing that I get out of it's just when the big group meetings and talking about the market overall just makes you feel that much more confident in what you have going on and how we as a seller we're able to do or performing the market and just makes you that much confidence in who you are and what you're doing.
Well, and it's one where like, when you think of the Millionaire Real Estate book and model, right? You're like, that seems like so much work. I don't know how that can happen. And there are multiple people that get up on that stage that are doing business that you like, it's mind blowing, right? And to me, I look at some of them and I'm like, how are they doing this, right? And the beauty of that is they found whatever niche it is, right? Or they found what they're really good at or hired people that are really good at things. Because there's some people up on that stage that I'm like, I would never have them represent me just by them, like the way that they present themselves or speak or whatever, yet they're doing huge numbers. So it allows you to be able to relate with other agents and you don't have to look a certain way, do business a certain way. You find something specific and you can crush at this business. And I think that's a huge opportunity. Rick? Were you gonna say something or were you actually just agreeing with me?
Well, I can say something about it as well. Along those lines, that's the one thing that I think has been most influential at that and Mega Camp is that you're learning so many different facets of the business, whether it be farming, whether it be social media, prospecting, whether it be luxury marketing. You're learning all these different ones, and the ones you may be super attracted to like 2 or 3 of them. And that's where you're gonna significantly enhance your business because you can narrow in on what they're doing extremely well in a different state, different part of the country, and just take all of that and implement it here. And that's what we've done. So you don't have to learn all 8 things or all 10 things, but it's always something. I always learn something there that I'm like, wow, I didn't even consider that this would be something that I might want to be doing as well. You know, so
Yeah.
that's nice.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Ben, and have something that they want to share. All right. When you do sign up, let me know because we will have like some sort of dinner and get together as an office, similar to what we did in Mega Camp as well in last year's family reunion.
I would say family reunion, one of the things I like about that, maybe a little different than even Mega Camp, is there's a sense of, hey, this is us. Like Mega Camp, we get a lot of industry stuff, we get a lot of different pieces. But family reunion is kind of where we get here's where we are as a company, here's what we're headed towards, here's our culture, here's what makes us different here. And when you leave that and you have that sense of, hey, it's just really energy giving. And I think family reunion is really good for that piece, the motivational breakfast, the inspirational breakfast, and all those things where you go, this is why I choose to do business with this group of people.
I also think just like Gary speaking at those, especially, I think it's going to be interesting this year with obviously the lawsuit that is going on what that take is and what we as a company are doing and what he's doing to protect us through and through, right? Like as buyer's agents, as listing agents, as real estate agents in general. It's an inspiring piece when he gets really passionate up on that stage, it's pretty awesome, pretty fun.
Gary Keller, Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Rory Vanden, this a whole, along with all KW leadership are gonna be at KW.
The keynote speaker should be pretty good this year too.
All right, so we have something fun. So we always do listing competitions and and then the buyer's agents are like, but I don't get listings, or I work mainly with buyers, work mainly with listings. Most of us know that it takes 66 days to create a habit. And I and our leadership team would like to focus on the lead gen portion, right? Because every single one of us can lead generate. And I know that there are a lot of us that have not been lead generating for the last 6 months, or maybe even longer than that. In this market, right, it's going to be needed. So we've decided to put a 66-day challenge together. And every single day that you spend 1 hour lead generating, you get to put your name in this boss case. We actually are getting a different thing to put the names in. And then at the end of the 66 days, we are gonna draw someone's name for a $500 gift card of your choice. So if you want it to be Visa, you want it to be Delta, you'll get that. The prize is really not the prize, right? It's really to get you in the habit of actually lead generating and doing that on a consistent basis. So that being said, this is starting today and it's going through March 8th. And then we will draw for that on the 13th. Any questions around that?
I just want to clarify that the maximum you can get is 1 hour a day. So if I lead gen for 6 hours, I don't get 6 things in there.
No, you just have to lead gen at least 1 hour.
We're talking about a day, Rick, not a month.
It's the day, yep. It's 1 ticket a day and you have to be the one that puts that in there. There's not gonna be any questions asked. This is gonna be on a trust basis that you are doing the lead generation, because the real prize in the whole thing is that by the end of this, we are trusting that you're gonna have a ton of leads, listings, buyers and whatnot.
And a new habit.
And a new habit. What other questions do you guys have?
You can lead gen from home, but don't email me to tell me that you did it. You have to come in and put your name in.
That's fair.
Yep.
I'm just gonna encourage everyone that if you do it, put on your slip how many people you contacted for that extra accountability. Cause I think it's easy to hide behind, I sent Facebook messages, or at least this is what we struggle with on our team. I sent Facebook messages for an hour, so I lead generated. And I think there's some of that, but your highest conversion is gonna be getting people on the phone.
You know, it's interesting that you say that too, because so you probably all got the newsletter that I sent out yesterday, right? I send that out to all of the recruits, whether I leave a message to them or I actually speak to them. And I was actually telling a few people in here prior to the meeting, it doesn't matter if I let the dialer go, right? And if they don't answer, I drop a message. And one of the people, I mean, I don't think it even hit their inbox and they were like, why am I on this list? And I said, you know, you're on this list because I've spoken to you in the last 6 months, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, I have never spoken to you. I said, well, that is so awesome because now we've met via email, right? Where like, it really truly is like having an actual conversation with someone, they'll know, right? It leaves an impression on them, versus just kind of sending the blanket messages to people or whatnot, because you see them see it, but it's not, I mean, it's an interaction. Don't not do that, but actually picking up the phone is a huge positive. Any other questions on the 66-day challenge?
We'll have all of that sitting out on the table, kind of behind Lydia's desk on that big gray table.
Who's gonna partake?
I plan on winning.
Plans on winning. And you know what, like throughout the 66-day challenge, if you guys have fun, Billy just gave me this gigantic bell, by the way, that I feel like we should hang somewhere when you make an appointment. We haven't talked about it because Heather walked into my office and goes, what is that? I was like, oh, it's a new bell. And she's like, for what? But if there's fun things to do, like make work fun, like make lead gen fun. It can be if Bethany, you wanna challenge Jacob that you're gonna win and you're gonna make more calls, like that'd be awesome. And Rick, if we could just get him to make some calls, that'd be great.
I'm gonna go blare an air horn in Tony's office every time I say
That's funny.
All right, awesome.
I'm excited for that. I think that's gonna be fun.
I think it is too. Okay, so I wanted to go over, what did you think?
The air horn?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the best part of it.
I'm gonna get a bigger one.
Amazon.com.
He gets one you have to like stomp on.
Yeah, too.
I feel like this could go sideways real fast. I'm sitting here thinking about all of the things that could happen. I'm like, okay, be positive. So I wanted to share kind of what we have as our GPS for the year as an office. I think it's important because as we keep going through each month on our ALC meetings, I'm going to be sharing my goals as a team leader. So in regards to that, there are things like how many appointments do I go on or how many appointments do I set? It's actually 480 for the year. My goal is 12,000 dials for the year and it's 4,800 new contacts for the year. Not necessarily new contacts, contacts in general, right? So I know those numbers by the back of my hand, what I want to do for this market center, right? And there's accountability around that every single week with my team leaders, with Jake and Jen, and the leadership team. So part of this is so that you know where our market center is going and what the goals are for that. And the other part of it is an example of whatever your goals are, know them so well that when you go and ask someone and they're like, what's your goal? You can say this, 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 and this. And I don't want it just to be volume and units, because kind of what I said yesterday in that email to you is there needs to be a plan, because so many people that I've spoken to in the last like 3 months are really excited about the new year, but have no idea how they're going to get there. And you don't have to have every detail figured out, but you do need a consistent plan of what you're going to do daily to try to make little like headway to get to your goal. Is that fair? After I share this, I would love to hear at least 4 people's goals for the year. So I'm going to prep you as I go through this so that I don't have to like wait for you to raise your hand. So whoever would like to share after this, I would love to hear your goals. So part of our market center is the number one thing for us is 50% of our agents with 201 plus contacts. So they're actually doing different things within Command for this. So there's like a little badge now that you can get when you have 201 plus contacts. Does anybody know why it's that number? Andy?
Didn't they do a research or study that said people with 201 contacts are made on an average 179,000 in GCF? Something close to that, those numbers.
Yeah, and the reason they did that is because it's a number that you can actually like swallow, right? You're like 201 contacts. That's a number that you can get to. When people are like, I have 10,000 contacts in my database, that's overwhelming for most people. And most people don't know that many people. But 201, and you use that database and you work that database really well, you will, on average, make that amount of money. And I'm like, a lot of people would be really happy with that. Would you agree? Awesome. All right, so that's our number one goal. And we actually can find that out through our vital signs and see how many people have, like, what is in their database. So if this is something you want to be held accountable, let us know, because we look at this very frequently and we will be looking at it more frequent. And if you're not at 201, we might just reach out and say, how can we help you get there? Fair?
Mhm.
Awesome. All right, so 55%. Is someone typing right now? Oh, I was like, 55% of agents in production each month. You guys, this is a number that's very important to me, not for the market center's purposes, right? Like, yes, we are a business and we obviously need to make a profit. But the 55% of agents in production is important to me because that means that if we are not hitting that, that's all of the agents that are not producing each month, which means that there's nothing going into your bank account that month, right? And to be fair, I don't want that to happen each month. I would love for that number to be even higher. However, on average, we've been hitting about 45%, which means that there's 55% of agents that are not producing each month, right? And that's a hard place to be, right? And so in regards to that, we want to help you get into production. And then out of that, 35% of those agents taking listings. And what was the average that we had this year?
28.
It was about 25 to 28% of agents taking listings. And what's important about that is as we take more listings and more agents are taking listings, we're taking more market share, right? And that allows us to do more business, within the market and within the collective. Any questions around those numbers? Okay, closed units. For this year, we want to close 1,200 units and we want to take 650 listings. This one is very, very doable. I mean, each year, Heather, what did we do last year? For closed?
914 closed units.
Okay, what did we do? Where are we at this year?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. This year we're at 914. The year before that, we were at 959.
Okay, so I mean, each year we've been hovering around that amount. We've obviously grown as a market center. And I would like obviously more agents to be in production and taking listings. 6 accountability groups. So currently we have 3. I would like to add 3 more to that. The piece of the accountability groups, I think is important is wanting to be held accountable, and then having similar productivity in those groups, right? Because I think anyone that's in an accountability group, who's been in an accountability group so far? I'll let you guys speak to that. What are the positives that you've gotten out of it? If you've gotten any positives out of it.
Well, it's just good to, I mean, you have your own little group of people that you can open up to instead of like a big setting like this. It's one, like, it could be a therapy session. It could also be like a pump you up session. And also today we were just going over like homework for next week. We're gonna do CMAs. And so we chose our address and we're gonna come back tomorrow or next week and do what we got. So it's kind of like a tool sharpening also.
Awesome. Who else?
I've been part of an accountability group where those things are good, and if they become priority, then my production or the production of the group has gone down. I really like an accountability group that has, whether it be the 411 or the GPS is used to create the 411 or the Big Rock production and personal goal, to be able to go in right away and say, I know what I need to report. I know what my goal was. I know I'm reporting on my goal. How did it happen? And then all the other stuff comes in with empathy when you are rocking your goal or you've had a challenge. All those things come in because but if we lose focus of what we're going for, then it becomes a social group in the good ways versus a accountability group, which I think really increases production.
I think the best thing about being in the accountability groups that I've been in is if I'm not hitting my goals, it's pushed back at us and why aren't you meeting your goals, or why did you choose that to be a goal in the first place? And ultimately it's for us to be able to hit our production goals. And so it's all about making sure we're doing the right actions to hit those. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I found that it's really helped with focus. So if you commit to doing something and you keep it in front of you all week so that you can mark it off, it helps you stay on track to the activities you need to get done. Pushes you a little bit. And it helps to have the people in the group challenge you a little bit on your goals too.
Well, I think it's a perfect example is nobody really succeeds alone, right? And I think we can all get into, like, we're human. And there's moments where it's like, you can make a million excuses. I can too, of why I don't want to make a call, or, oh, I'm not going to goal because of X, Y, Z, personally or professionally. And I think the other piece of that is the accountability groups aren't just professional. If you don't have some sort of balance every now and then between work and personal, one is going to falter, right? And you aren't really being your best self in that situation and living a life by design. So we want to add 3 more groups to it. There is a very set standard on how those groups are run. And there's also a set standard in regards to how things are tracked in there. You either get a red or a green. If you didn't make your goal, it's red. If you did, it's green. There are no yellows, there are no oranges, and I will definitely call you out on any of the colors that are not red or green. For a good reason, right? So I would love if anybody wants to join an accountability group to send me an email. Cause we will be putting multiple ones together, again, depending on what their production level is. Especially because some people have also come off the ALC, and are not in that particular accountability group, but still want to be held accountable with other agents. So, feel free to shoot me an email in regards to that. Our goal for gross agents is 60 agents this year, and then also to grow 4 cappers within KDOT or within the office. So either that's new agents or agents that are already here that have not capped before. And then obtain 75,000 in owner profit. Do you guys have any questions around this at all?
Is this gonna be up anywhere in the office?
We definitely can have it up in the office. We can put it on all of the screens and then we'll be going over it every single ALC meeting. Along with, I will be sharing where I'm at with appointments set, contacts made, and dials. Dial, yeah.
In the ALC meeting, you'll be doing that?
Which, by the way, that is incredibly nerve wracking, just FYI. So, but it's a new level of accountability that we're doing as ALC, and we'll be talking about that next week. Any other questions? Do you want to see it somewhere specific?
No. It's just helpful. It's also helpful to know like what was last year. Like I didn't know how many units we closed last year in
Yeah.
the market center. So sometimes it's like, okay, goal is 1,200, but what does that actually mean? Like an
Yeah.
increase of blank percent.
We can have that, we could include that on.
Yeah.
December numbers.
Yeah, or it could just be one where we could have a visual up, which we've been talking about for a while too, on like, here's where the goal is, here's where we're tracking, here's where we might have been in, 2019, 2020. I mean, we can do that as well, if that's something that you guys want to see. Again, sometimes people are like, I don't care. Other people are like, I want to know what we're doing as an office.
Does anyone use a 411 in here?
Yes.
Maybe, like you actually use it? Yeah.
Why do you ask that?
Well, when you got to posting, I think there's no one succeeds alone, and I think office doors we just decorated. One of the fun things would be to kind of post and track, like have a culture of that, like we
used to do that in Eden Prairie. We would post up at least the leadership team did. We posted our 411s on the doors every week.
I'd be willing to do that. Well,
I'll do that. Mine looks a little different. I've hyper formatted it, but it's still my goals.
okay.
I would do that, and I can post some numbers. I can post numbers up there every week too.
Awesome. Any other questions? Rick, are you gonna put your 411 up there?
I don't know what it is, so I can't commit to that. You know what it is?
I can't commit to that.
Sherry.
Sherry's like, I'm not even talking to him. Any other questions around the market center goals?
I
Are you
would,
guys excited about the market center goals?
Explain like a 411 and just a short little
You
burp.
want me a short paragraph of what a 411
Well,
is?
just kind of, yeah, what is it? Weekly, monthly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the 411 is your annual goals, right? So you put your annual goals, business and personal, usually at the top. So if it's like a very generalized version of the 411, which Rick does know what that is because he's had to do that. So we're gonna ignore that conversation. It's your annual goals at the top. Then it goes into the monthly goals, which is next. So everything essentially is feeding upwards, right? And then it goes down into the 4, which is the weekly goal. Sometimes there's 5 weeks. So again, it can be, put across 4 to 5 weeks is the weekly goals below. But the whole reason for the 411 is that it's talking to each other. There are sometimes things in the weekly portions or monthly portions that might not be in your annual. But what you're hoping to do is start crossing off as you go up on it, right? So your weekly goals are reaching your monthly goals, and then the monthly goals are then checking off something on your annual goals. So there's actually a chaos to the madness, right? Of like, hey, this is what we're doing. And the part of that with the accountability groups is we can see what you're doing and if you are actually reaching those goals. If not, it allows you the information for us to shift. Like, if you're not making enough appointments to hit your listing goal or vice versa, then you can shift that. How many more contacts do I need to make? Because obviously the 20 a week that you're doing is not getting you to your goal. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, who wants to share 4 people their goals for this year? You can share 1 of your goals, you can share 2 of your goals. Who wants to share?
I'll share 3 of mine.
Chris.
The first one is to move out. The second one is to do 100 open houses, and then the third is to cap.
Awesome. Who else?
I can share. These are our total team goals. These are not me personally, like as an individual. 150 units for 65.25 million in volume, 50 listings taken, 15 net agents hired. To do that, we have to make 7,500 sphere calls, do 120 open houses, and add 30 new agents to our CRM and reach out to them consistently.
Awesome. Who else? I'm gonna sit here because this is really important to me. Because either 1, you don't want to share your goals because you're nervous about it, which is why you should share it. Or 2, you haven't made your goals, which is okay. Let's talk about that so that we can get you moving forward. Chris.
We have an extra day this year, so. Yep.
February 29th.
Wow.
And it falls on a Thursday, so there's not an excuse to do
Fun
something.
fun fact, you have 1 extra day to make more calls, so. 2 more. Tony's feeling uncomfortable over here. Do you want to share yours?
Oh, I gotta go in a few minutes. No, I'm gonna have my biggest GCR year ever this year.
Well, what is it gonna be?
About 1,550,000.
Okay,
That's just myself, not any team members.
that's awesome. I'm excited about that. Nice. Who else? 1 more.
I haven't talked with my family about this goal, but Wendy told me about a different family that spent 1,000 hours outside last year. And so I might have, that might have to be one of our goals. I love it. 1,000 hours as a family outside
3 hours a day.
for a long day on the weekend or whatever, but. Our dog
It's
is
doable.
Jamie's thinking of that for herself.
I was like, that's doable.
For that.
Look at.
With an app for that, then add it for it.
I need like a visual. I would have to have something on our wall.
You track it, you put on your 411, track it
but-
monthly, daily.
The health benefits of it.
And if you guys want a tracker, by the way, I have a specific tracker that I use. It's called a scorecard, which is similar to a 411. But it's just a little bit more intense. Like, it has miles biked, journal entries, hours read, and you can just track it each month, year, day. I essentially go on it and it just.
You also have to 411 in your command.
Yep. Someone just said something on the.
Terry says, yes, please, for the tracker.
Yes, please, for the tracker. Awesome. Well, I would love to know your goals because, again, I am not able to help you if I don't know what they are. And part of the reason I think we're all sitting in this room is to support each other, right? And if we don't know how to support each other, or maybe you just feel uncomfortable, that's okay. Everyone has to start somewhere. I had to start somewhere. I had to start somewhere as a team leader, right? Just recently, I'll be very vulnerable with you. My coach looked at me and is like, you're not performing to the level that you should be performing as the person that I know that you are, right? And that's a hard look in the mirror when someone says that to you. And I said, you're right. Right? Because there are things that we all allow to get in our way, right? Either it's mindset, either it's, you feel like you don't have the support. It doesn't matter what it is, but you have to be vulnerable enough if you want to grow. And you have to be vulnerable enough to look in the mirror and say, okay, what am I doing that might not allow me to reach that goal? Right? part of mine. I am, starting a whole new regiment of how many calls I have to make. That started last year and I was not doing that previously. I was doing it as they came, which was easier, right? Having someone hang up on you and tell you and they know who you are. They know who I am. When you're cold calling, people usually don't know who you are. Agents know who I am, and then I see them at broker opens. I see them at events. I see them wherever. I just got an email about, Classic Keller to send out this stupid newsletter. And I was like, man, I'm so glad that you emailed me, Christopher, right? So it wasn't you, no. You've got to put yourself out there though, if you believe in the goal. And I truly believe in every single one of these goals that we put up here this year. And honestly, there's a part of me that wants to crush that 60 gross out of the water by the end of the year. And since Bethany is going to bring in at least 15 net, I really truly feel like we're going to do that. And I need your help with it, right? And I'm guessing you need need my help and the leadership help to get to where you want to be. So this is an absolute safe space and zero judgment in what your goal is, where you're at on it. It's more of a time for us to be able to talk to each other as agents and support each other. Do you agree? And the more that we're silent about it, it's just going to be super awkward because I'm going to sit here until someone says something. Because I know everybody wants to crush your goals this year, right?
Yeah.
Because if not, why are you here? Like there's something that you want from that, right? Like you didn't just make the goal. You want vacation, you want a new house, you want whatever it is. Share that. Be really, really passionate about it. And each day show up because that's what you want. Right? All right. Next. That's you, Kevin.
All right, good stuff. All right. Tammy asked me to come talk about lawsuits and more lawsuits and more lawsuits. And here's the thing with our lawsuits that we're all figuring out right now.
Let's preface that. There is a lot of questions that are out there because news sources tell us different things and we're getting information from different places. So when you have questions about it, there are a lot of unanswered items because we don't know exactly what's going on within the lawsuit, right? Because a lot of the stuff is not released yet. So in regards to how we play it as a brokerage, as an agent, I'm going to leave that up to Kevin to let him talk about that.
Perfect. So lawsuits.
Lawsuits.
Here's the deal with all the lawsuits that are happening and expanding and continuing to happen is that right now there's a question about how the industry moves forward, how buyers, agents are compensated, what's the responsibility of sellers. And what you need to recognize is that this is playing out at a national level, right? We are a brokerage. We are an agent within a brokerage, within a MLS, within a smaller different levels, right? And across this country are many different rules and regulations, and MLSs have different rules and all these different things. The good thing is we are part of a MLS that's kind of taken some steps on the front end that are helping us along the way. And if we follow these, we should be good. At this point, by the way, no individual agent is being sued. Okay, that's not the issue. The issue is the big organizations, the MLSs, NAR, and then Keller and all the other big real estate brokerages. So what does that mean? What are some protections that we can have? One is you all should have a buyer's rep sign. It should not just be signed once you make the offer and then you send it in with your stuff. It should be signed as predated, just like when you talk about agency relationships at the first, when do you have to talk about that?
For substantial contract.
Right, so, that's before you learn their motivation, all those kind of stuff. Make sure you just also put on there, the compensation. Here, by the way, if you choose for me to be your agent on the buy side, this is how I'm compensated. I'm compensated from you, Wendy, at 2.7%. My contract is with who?
Wendy.
Wendy, right? Wendy represents a brokerage. The brokerage has contract with Wendy. Then Wendy would explain, sometimes the agent, the seller's agent shares their compensation with me. Whatever they compensate me, remember on the form, it says shall or shall not, shall reduce my cost. So Wendy, you owe me 2.7%. If someone else pays me that 2.7%, then you don't owe me anything on that, except the broker admin fee, which, by the way, you're gonna see a clear compensation disclosure along when? When are they gonna see that? When we submit the offer. They're gonna show, it doesn't have to be included in your offer for the listing side, but your client needs to see that clear compensation with the submission of an offer, right? Jim.
Thanks, Kevin. I participated in an arbitration hearing this week. And guess what happened to the person filing the arbitration suit? She was not eligible for compensation because she did not have a buyer agency contract with the buyer. Somebody else wrote the offer and got the compensation. So I'm just going to reinforce what you were just talking about from a different perspective. Get the buyer agency form signed. Or you're going to be out cold because there was no offer of compensation for a facilitator.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
All right, so that's one thing, is one, we gotta have those forms. Two, what is the standard rate for a buyer's agent to be compensated? There isn't, right?
As a standard rate.
There is no rate. The rate is 2.7% only because that's what your broker asked that you pay out, right? At Keller, in our office, KW Lakeman and Tonka, when you take a listing, we ask that you pay out 2.7% to that buyer's agent. It's not the collective asking you to do that. It's me, your broker, asking you to do that. Our brokerage is saying we pay out 2.7%. With your client, they need to understand all commissions are negotiable. It's your job then to negotiate with your clients what that rate's gonna be, right? So that's what they need to understand. Is there a fixed? No. Is there a standard? No. Is there something you see more often than others? No, everything's negotiable. My rate is such and such. Go ahead.
When you're negotiating that commission with the client, are you explaining to the client that part of it goes to the other agent?
Oh, this is great, because on a listing
Look how
contract,
excited he is about commissions.
on the listing contract, it says this. It says, explains our relationship, and it says a cost for our relationship is blankety blank, right? Is a blank, 6%, let's say 6%. I put in 6%, go down the couple lines, it shows right on that contract how I'm going to disperse that money to a different person. Who does that seller have a contract with? Me, right? I am fully disclosing that, hey, I'm gonna share that with another agent. Do they have an obligation to pay this other person? No. Their obligation is to pay me my 6%. I share that and I tell people on our MLS, hey, I'm gonna pay out 2.7%. But the seller's sharing with me. If I disclose all of that, this is what I get paid, 6%. Here's how I'm sharing it, right? That's that side. Now I go to the MLS and I put my listing on there. I say, by the way, I'm sharing 2.7%, right? The buyer comes, they have that relationship with their buyer. Hey, it costs 2.7% to work with me. By the way, I just got compensated 2.7% here. If we do it like that, all is fine. The problem that we have is when we don't disclose how we're getting paid. And someone feels like, hey, I'm getting ripped off here. This is not what we agreed to. Now, they need to understand everything's negotiable. There is no standard. It's up to you guys to negotiate that. In our office, we ask that you pay out 2.7%. If you need to pay out less than that, there's a form, I think we still have this form, that says, hey, you gotta get broker's authority to pay out less than 2.7%. Questions? Carla, I know you went to a class.
No, it's on the 10th.
Oh, the class is on the 10th. So here's what's going on, and here is why NAR will say nothing has changed. From the lawsuit, nothing has changed. The verdict didn't require anything to change. However, we got to make sure we're following the things that we have. And know that the lawsuits are going to be appealed. This is going to be a longer process in figuring things out. The biggest thing is negotiation. Our commissions are negotiable. At our brokerage is what we charge. My relationship as a seller is with you and the seller. I'm disclosing fully how I'm going to compensate the buyer, the agent that brings the buyer to the house. That's right on here. I'm over here working with a buyer. I'm disclosing clearly to you, my contract is with you. You owe me this amount. If they don't pay me, you still owe me this amount. This is only paying out 1%. Great, we already have a contract that says you owe me 2.7%. You can pay me 1.7%. They'll pay me 1%. I get paid, right? Disclose with every offer. Here's the compensation. Here's how I'm getting paid. Here's your broker admin fee. Whatever other things you have on there. Do that, we're good.
It'd be really fair just to say nothing's changed. However, some people have to change how they do their business because they actually have to fill out these sheets and they have to explain this information to people. So if you have not done that, just like Jim just brought up, or you don't have buyer representation sign, it's changing for you because you have to, and you always should have, but if you don't now, it's gonna be a problem, like a big, big problem.
Yeah, and I will say, there are things that can happen when everything's going fast and there's a shadow on it. You get loosey-goosey. There aren't very many shadows right now. So the North Star MLS is a big MLS. And eyeballs are coming everywhere. Like as soon as they got the verdict, they saw was, hey, there's a lot of payout to this. Lawsuits went up everywhere. Real estate companies are preparing for, hey, this is the beginning of something. So nothing has changed. We are on the front of things are changing.
I just kind of share what the reason I signed up for this. It's about framing up the conversation when you're doing a listing or a buyer representation. And if we don't talk about it first and they sign a listing agreement or a buyer rep agreement and they hear it from somebody else or another agent, they're going to cancel with you. And there's no way to recover from that. I mean, it's like when you have a listing and all of a sudden things go south, you can't save face.
Yeah.
So I signed up for this and I'm happy to share what I learned on the 10th is they're going to be doing scripting. They're going to be talking about how do you explain what's going on nationally? How does it impact us here? And then more importantly, buyer or listing, how do you frame your conversation up that which just ties into what you just were going through? And so I wanted to understand from a different perspective, and I've been kind of following the different lawsuits. I'm not getting too deep into it. I'm just, hovering, but I'm talking about it a little bit because there's 2 listings I have that we've gone under contract and it has come up.
Yeah, and I will say, I remember when I first got in real estate and I kept going to my coach going, how do I respond to, well, how long have you been in real estate? And their response was, why are you getting that question? I don't get that question, right? So there's a spot where if you go and present with integrity and present in a spot where you know, hey, by the way, I want to disclose all this thing to you, then the conversation of, hey, what's this going on without people not disclosing thing? Well, that doesn't even come up because I've already done the front work. What are you gonna say?
So if we're in January, I obviously sell new construction. I don't rep a lot of buyers, in fact, very, very, very few. One thing I found is how often people buy real estate when they're not in the market. Like, all of a sudden they come to an open house, but we're in the market, next thing I'm writing a contract. Do they have an agent, don't they have an agent, kind of question comes up. I love, first of the year is a great time to, especially like Bethany, who runs a very, very, very professional business with a lot of clients who follow her very, very closely. First of the year is a great time to, when you're making your cold calls, to call all your clients and say, hey, I'm gonna send you, because I know that people buy real estate a lot, sometimes, unannounced. Can I just send you the buyer rep agreement for the year? Let's just get this taken care of and out of the way for the year. You're gonna be my client, right? So just in case something comes up or I see something, I have to have the stock of this paperwork taken care of anyways. Let's just get out of the way now. So if I see something that I think you guys might be interested, I can send it to you. Or if you guys see something, we can just move forward. We don't have to go through getting all this other paperwork filled out. Love it. I mean, you're locking, your clients are saying, yeah, we believe in you that much that, yes, of course, we're gonna use you. Whereas, as a person that sells new construction, how many, I have an agent, but I don't remember. I don't really sign anything with them.
Yeah.
I haven't signed anything with them, we're kind of, hey, so get that taken. First of the year is a great time to, get them under contract.
Yeah, and actually this reminds me of something. I'm not sure if I talked to someone in our office or someone in legal. But agency is coming up again. And if you're doing open houses, my recommendation to you is make sure you have an agency form there.
On the counter.
You do not, it's not the law that you have it signed. That's that's something we say you have to do. You have to have it signed and turned in with your command stuff, but it is the law that you share that. So if you take that and you print it and put it right with your other open house stuff, that works. Hey, I made that available. Because at an open house, when someone says, they haven't looked at agency at all. And I always say, so what brought you in today, right? The conversations start and they say, oh, we just moved to, or we just got a new job and we're looking for a spot to come. All of a sudden, I know now things that are going to impact either my seller or them, right? They have to understand that relationship thing. So make sure you put your agency stuff out.
The thing I like is, I heard this a long time ago, we talk about commission. Professional fee is such a more impressive word.
Professional fee?
Professional fee is 2.7%.
Yeah. Yeah, I get,
What's your unprofessional fee? That's.
no, I
like these probably.
Yeah, I like the spot too. I'm in a spot where I go, I so much want us to call what it is, because we want to be so clear and we're not being deceptive in any way. Professional fee makes a lot more sense. My professional fee is 2.7%, 3%.
I think this always goes back to value, right? We feel very awkward when we get paid if we feel like we didn't provide value. Would you agree?
Yes.
If you know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a professional and providing value, it doesn't feel weird to get paid. Because that's your job, right? I think a lot of us are like half in sometimes, half out, and then it's like, oh, are they gonna pay me or are they not? Would anybody else go into a corporate job and wonder, man, am I gonna get paid this week or not? No, they go in from 9 to 5 knowing they're gonna get paid because they're providing some sort of value for that corporation. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So as you go in front of every single client, what is going to shift your mindset to know that you are bringing them value that deserves a specific commission paid for your services? I don't care what you have to do and what you like, how you have to write that and get that into your head, but you deserve the commission that you are getting paid as long as while you're providing them value. We just had this conversation yesterday. Can I share?
Yeah. go ahead.
Alex came in and he's like, I really want this listing. And he's like, can I just, reduce the commission on the buy side? I said, absolutely not. I was pretty adamant about it. Absolutely not, right? Well, someone else already said that they would. At that point in time, why do you think that other person already told this client they would list their house for 5%? Because that was the only way that they could get that listing. The only way is I'm gonna reduce my commission and that's how I'm gonna win this. Right? There were multiple different scenarios we went through that you could script that, conversation it. I hate that you can't use the word script. To make sure that he had value provided for that client. And that's where the practice portion of this business comes into play. Like, come and talk to people that aren't your actual clients so that when you go to clients, you aren't stumbling over your words and your value. Right? I mean, when I make 50 dials a day and have at least 20 contacts a day, I am not stumbling over my words when they come back with some stupid objection. Because they're all the same. No, I'm good where I'm at. No, I'm not switching. Like, they're always the same, right? Listing, same thing. Buyer, same thing. It's the same objections every single time. What we fail at as agents is not knowing how to handle that because we're not confident in what we're saying. It hasn't changed in the 15 years I've had my real estate license or been in this industry. They are the same objections and they are the same handlers. It just depends on how you present them to people. There's no new fancy method that's gonna nail it better than the last one. There's truly not. Anything else, Kevin?
No, that's it.
That's
Do
it.
the right thing.
Do the right thing every single day. All right. I think you're up next.
I mean,
All right, come on up.
Push till next.
No.
nothing changes in rates ever. So no, just wanted to kind of give a 2024.
Introduce yourself. just in
Oh,
case
I'm
nobody-
Aaron Rodriguez with Supreme Lending. I sit in a little cube up there. Come say hi, whatever you'd like. No, I just wanted to give a kind of a idea of where the market might go in 2024. Obviously have to preface it in nobody knows. Rates can change quickly. They can change daily, hourly. Generally, rates go up faster than they go down. But they can change. For instance, the last couple months, we saw rates come down 1.5 points in like 6 weeks, which is pretty crazy. That's like 2020 kind of movement on rates on that end. So what I've heard and what I've read this year is we can probably expect a range anywhere from about 7.25 to 5.75. Right now, we're sitting right in the mid sixes for rates. So we could see it bounce up. What they're saying is probably towards the end of the year, we'll see it pushing down into below sixes. It would be really helpful for inventory and everything. And we'll get applications up, everything if we're below sixes. So we'll see some positive movement continue like that. I think there's good momentum this way. Regardless, I don't know what you guys are hearing, but what I'm feeling is there's positive momentum moving into this quarter. So that could be the range. We could see sub 5 or sub 6, even mid 5s or low 5s if a couple things click the right way. Generally speaking, that would be like a recession, which we don't necessarily want to see on that. So we'll be watching jobless claims on that for just kind of a rule to look at. You'd have to see them with probably about 330,000 on average jobless claims. For right now, we're looking at about 215. So we're a ways away from that. So it's not a big concern right now on that end. Let's see, home prices nationally. Now Minnesota will be a little bit different. Obviously, you guys know that, but nationally they're expecting single-digit growth, kind of similar to what was last year. A couple things that could impact that. Obviously, if rates go down quickly, prices are going to go up because the competition is going to go crazy, right? Especially if we don't have the inventory in there. We could say it go the other way if we have a bunch of stressed houses come on there where people are stressed and they have to sell, right? So we'll see then homes could be pressed and if rates don't keep up to make us be able to double up that inventory. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'll be honest. I think there's a lot of pent up demand. I think there's a lot of folks that, unless rates go back up over 8, knock on wood, probably not gonna see that. So that's kind of what I'm been reading, seeing, thinking on that. Any questions, thoughts, ideas?
Awesome.
All right. That's pretty much, I got another slide, yeah. So I was gonna say, you'll hear a lot of people probably say, I'm gonna wait for the rates to come down. That's a typical objection, right? I think that's not a savvy move on their end if they have to move on that end. One way around it, we do a temporary interest rate buy down. It's no cost to them, it's no cost to the seller at all, but you can get a 1%. So it can give them a little peace of mind. So if you buy this week and you're locking in 6.625 for the next 12 payments, you're gonna pay the equivalent of 5.625, right? So you can kind of wait it out. When rates do come down there, you can refinance, and you can refinance at any time because there's no cost to you as the buyer. So you're not out anything. So it's a positive that way. So it's really, it's just a way to get around that. If that's their objection, we can talk them through that and give them options there.
Let's say the rate does go down, do they have closing fees trying to do that, or do you guys waive those?
As far as- If they refinance, there's no cost to them whatsoever. So we can refinance them if it makes sense for them, at any point. So if it's a couple months after they close and we see some drastic change in it, I'll advise them, let's go, let's do that. But you don't have to, right? It can be a year, it can be whatever, there's no cost to them and they're not out anything, which is the key there, because you don't want to pay for that and then all of a sudden pay again and again and again, right? You lose the value of refinancing. But I mean, ultimately, you guys know this too, people don't really move because of the market, right? They don't hear rates are great and then they decide they're gonna uproot their family and they're gonna do that. They're already making that decision, right? They're having a change in their life, a divorce, a marriage, a new kid, a bigger kid, a smaller kid, whatever it is, right? They have a reason for moving. So this just helps make it a little more palatable for them and some other things that way, so. All I got at the moment. Just quickly, I used to be sales manager at Pulte Homes, and with rates going up and whatnot, obviously we sell a lot of townhomes nowadays, and association fees are such a huge part of, the payments now. I know you have to qualify still, but one of the little, whatever tricks that I used to do at Pulte, as running the Pulte sales person, because for your sellers selling townhomes, is I would offer 2 years of notice where I basically pay their association dues for 2 years, which is a huge change in their payment, but not a huge discount in the price of the house. So if you're having townhomes sales and whatnot, I know, but that's the one issue is you still have to qualify. With that payment, but it's a huge bonus, yeah. At least it gives them, much more substantial change in their payment than trying to buy down the rate. A great idea on that, but yes, you would have to qualify, just like with this buy down, you would qualify at the higher rate. So I can't make somebody qualify that doesn't qualify, but that's the same principle, right? You're saving your actual cash flow, which is huge. Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think Terry has a question.
Oh,
I did. I have a question. Wondering if we run into this situation, it kind of deals with the whole commission thing. That if the seller is paying maybe 1% or nothing, and our buyer is looking at paying a 1.7 or 2.7%, are you guys coming up with something creative to be able to help them with that?
above my pay grade. No one's talked about it yet on our side, sorry.
Okay.
I think that will be something, it all depends, right, where these lawsuits go and what the reality of the market is. We'll come up with something when we have to, but right now I think that no one knows, so no one's really putting it out there. Simplest way that fund is basically adding the price. Right.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. All right. I am going to close out the meeting. Wants and needs, if you guys want to chat about that a little bit, we can do that. Otherwise, send those to Lydia. Just want to be conscious of time. It is 8 after, and she will send that out at the end of the day. Don't forget, if you want to be in an accountability group, please send me an email for this year. All right, have a good one.
Awesome.